All right, we're going to turn right over and jump right into Adam, and you've got our program, so I'll let you introduce our guest, and we'll jump in. If anybody needs to grab anything, feel free to just wander over the break and get your stuff, but we're going to jump right into our program.
All right, thanks, Joe. So our presenter tonight is David Norris, K5UZ. He is the Delta Division Director for the ARRL, and I'll waste another iota. So David, please take it away.
Now that this is being recorded. So just want to say greetings, and hope everybody's doing well. It's certainly hot enough outside. We hit 100 today here over in Little Rock, so it's warm.
There you go.
Anyway, got a quick program to run through. If I can share the screen and talk a little bit about what's going on in the division, what went on with the board meeting a couple of weeks ago, and just talk about what's looking at us coming down the road. And appreciate the invite from Adam, and we'll get started. Let me see if I can share the PowerPoint on the screen without it going completely bananas on me. Okay. Screen, okay. Okay, can everybody see that slide?
Yes, we can.
Okay, all right. Okay, well, good evening, and we'll say we'll get rolling with this, see if I can get it to click. A little different screen set up tonight. So further ado, I want to thank everybody for having me. And I am the Delta Division Director, and those are the 4 states, 4 sections we represent. That's Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana, and Arkansas. I'm of course in Arkansas. And 4 things I want to take you guys take away from tonight is 1, let's recruit new amateurs. Let's get them in the league. Let's be good Elmers, good mentors. Let's build relationships with our club, with our fellow members in the club, with our served agencies in the community, and with other clubs around the section and the division. Also, I'd like for everybody to try to be positive. I think it's a great, exciting an incentive for everybody to come in if you're positive and not negative. And I think it really helps the organization, amateur radio, as a whole. A little bit about our leadership, and actually it's 2024, but 2025 is the same as it was. So it's myself, David Norris, K5UZ's director, Ed Hudgens, WB4RHQ. Ed's an old Memphis guy. He's our vice director. Those are the 2 elected positions in the division level. And then we've got our section managers underneath those, each section, which has the field organization. These are the elected heads of that field organization. In Arkansas, we got Jay Ferguson, N5LKE, just across the river from you guys. In Louisiana, Houston Polson is our newest section manager in the group, N5YS. I've known Houston for a few years. He's a retired Air Force colonel, and we have some pretty good conversations from time to time. And Malcolm, down south of us, is in W5XX. He is the longest serving section manager there in Mississippi in the league. So he's just a few months away from having a record of being the longest section manager in service for the ARRL and the ARRL's history. So I think we're going to have to do something special for him when that time comes. Your section manager there in Tennessee, of course, is David Thomas, KM5NYI. over at Knoxville. Dave's doing a really good job. I think he's taken Keith's organization and has run with it and has fine-tuned it for the times. And a lot of good things happening in Tennessee with David and everybody in the Aries organization, and then with the field service there. So you guys got some pretty good help there in Tennessee, and I want to thank all the volunteers that work in the ARRL field organization there in the Memphis and West Tennessee area, Eastern Arkansas area, and of course Northern Mississippi. I want to really thank you for what you do for the league and for the community. We have various assistant section managers around the division. They tend to be geographic in nature. They kind of tell me what's going on. I serve as a sounding board, and they also provide feedback to the membership directly. And been very, very fortunate, very blessed to have a good group of those assistant directors. Joe being one, especially there in Memphis, and he's been a long-time help to me and Ed. I think he's known Ed forever. I've known Joe for a while too. He's been good help there at the club and with that part of the state. So I want to thank him. Of course, Randy Smith, a little bit north of there, KI4 OAS. Randy's been a big help and always good to fall back on and ask for feedback and help disseminate what's going on. We've also got various other taskings that can be assigned to assistant directors. Logan Heinzelman is our youth director, KI5 HXC. Logan's probably going to be looking to step out of that role pretty quick. He's finishing up his aviation education and is going to be moving forward. Phil Green's our webmaster up in Union City, and we're going to be making some changes to the website pretty soon. So we'll be working with him and possibly some other folks with some good ideas to go forward and modernize some things there. John Mark Robinson, who is one of our assistant section managers down in Louisiana, is going to be helping with the Facebook page and doing some updates there with myself. Of course, Phil. Steve Waterman has good help there in Nashville with TEMA, and he's also got some national connections with FEMA and of course with WinLink, and then Hank Keebler over at FEMA. Along with the assistant section managers, we have advisory committee members, one being Steve Rutledge, N4JQQ right there in Memphis. He's our DXAC advisory member. And Stan Stockton, K5GO up in Siloam Springs, Arkansas, is our contest advisory committee member. Some of the ARRL staff that may be of help to you, Bart Yankee, W9JJ, he's our radio sport, which is contests and DXing, and he's also our regulatory and information manager as well. Kind of wears two hats. He's took over some things for Norm Fasaro and from Dan Henderson. Mike Walters, W8ZY, is our field service manager. He directly looks at what the section managers are doing, what the field organization does. And Steve Ewald also helps in that regard too. He's our field program specialist. And Steve's an old Tennessee guy. He's from Knoxville. And then we got Steve Goodgame, K5ATA. He's our new education manager. Steve's from Batesville, Mississippi. Getting a lot of guys from Delta Division in here. And of course, Josh Johnston, KE5 MHB. He's our director of emergency management for the league, and he is from Arkansas. So a lot of Delta Division guys loaded up in the staff there. Imagine that. All right, our July 2025 board meeting, we had a lot of interesting things going on, some pretty good information brought forward. We had, of course, had a dues increase, and we did some subscription changes. And coming out of 2024, we have had a net income of $440,000 for that year. So we've kind of turned things around financially. That has helped us greatly. So that was a big big help to us and absolutely was welcome information. We revised our bylaws 46, 42, and Article 7 to live up to the obligation we made back in 2019 when we said we would come back with some type of standards for ethical conduct of the board when we did away with that old code of conduct. So that lived up to our obligations that we had set forth back in a previous motion. We discussed the possibilities of removing the $35 licensing fee for our FCC licenses and renewals. And some interesting discussion came of that with David Sadal. One of the things that he brought up was that the FCC may be getting a little heartburn from the expenses that they're incurring having to process those fees every time they do a renewal. So what may be on the table, nothing's been decided yet, is there may be a one-time lifetime licensing fee. We've looked at the possibility of doing away with it. Unfortunately, Congress passed legislation that decreed them to do this, so it may be a little harder to get out of that than we think. However, a good compromise would be making that a one-time lifetime fee. Pay it once and you're good to go. So that may be where we're headed, and hopefully so, at least that. We were fortunate enough to reduce that, negotiate that down from what the initial price they had put on it at $50. We did get that reduced to $35 when we first introduced this. But if we can get that changed to a lifetime, one-time payment, that would be fantastic. We've came up with a new operating event out of this. We're going to establish a year-long semi-quincentennial USA operating event for 2026 to go along with the 250th anniversary of the United States. They're working on the rules now and should be something like we did for the centennial. And we're going to feature the states, maybe doing something in conjunction with 13 colonies, which is always fun. But looking forward to having some real good operating fun over the year with that. We also looked at doing a 10-band DXCC award. We're developing that. We're going to implement it. And if you've worked DXCC on 160 through 6, you're eligible for that plaque. When we get that established, you know, there'll be a few of us that'll be able to get it, but it's something to strive for. Speaking of 2026, we've also decided to recognize that it's the year of the club in conjunction with the semi-quincentennial. So it's going to be a really fun operating event and some really fun things going on this next year. We're going to recognize the affiliated clubs for their good work. We're going to maybe put out some plaques and prizes and do some things that'll make it fun. So we really appreciate the ARRL affiliated clubs around the country and looking to have some really, really good programs for them and get some recognition out there. And speaking of recognition, we moved to recognize clubs with 70 to 90% ARRL affiliation levels within their membership. And also those clubs that are at 90%, or even one that I belong to, I think Steve belongs to that too. Steve Rutledge is the ADXA. We're at 100% affiliation, the Arkansas DX Association. We're going to start recognizing those. There may be some prizes going out in conjunction with the 2026 year of the club and a high percentage of ARRL affiliation. So keep your receivers tuned. Some good news also is we've revamped NTS. We've brought back the area chairs, had those reinstated. We're working with an MOU with RRI, Radio Relay International, and the Transcontinental Core is back where it used to be. So we're looking forward to working with them with the NTS and get it back into a really, really top-notch program. When all else fails, there's amateur radio. We've also moved to initiate a program to help the clubs with their websites, website development, ideas, hints, and kinks. We're going to look at a program where we can take a club that's struggling with their website and pairing them with a club that has a really good website, knows what they're doing, and to pass that information and pass that knowledge along. So I think that's something that could help us, because many times that's the first contact a new ham has is with the club's website. And those can be either a great recruiting tool, or they can run off more people than you can imagine. Another thing we looked at, we've initiated a study to enhance the effectiveness of our public information program with our PICs, public information coordinators, PIOs, and other methods of getting information out. One thing that amateurs, the ARRL, and some clubs just don't do very well is blow our own horn. Let's start doing that, and we're going to look at ways of getting that done and spreading it out across the country. We also recognize Tennessee ARRLs and the Tennessee section and their leadership for their efforts during Hurricane Helene. We're also still working on our Amateur Radio Emergency Preparedness Act of 2025. We've got sponsors. We're looking at continuing on with this through the year. I had an update last night with David Minster on this, and we're looking at making a push going forward, trying to get this legislation moved. We've got our lobbying firms ready, and when this is set to go, we will be calling on the membership to do some letters for us. We've got the software in hand. We've got it in place. And there will be a electronic letter writing campaign, because you don't want to mail snail mail to them, because it'll sit there in the clearinghouse for an indefinite period. So be ready for that. I will be disseminating the information if and when we go with this. And let's see if we can't get some relief for our friends in the HOA restricted areas. I wear two hats. Not only am I the ARRL Delta Division Director, I'm also the president of the ARRL Foundation. And the foundation handles the scholarships, does a lot of grant work. It's a separate 501 corporation for charity work. And we do foundation grants for any number of amateur-related projects, club-related projects that we deem worthy by our review committee. And we also give out a lot of scholarships. Talk a little bit about the club grants. ARDC, Amateur Radio Digital Communication, has come into a lot of money over the years with these .com addresses that they have bought up and have been selling them. And they're flush with cash. And they decided to partner with us because we had a proven system in place for distributing scholarships. And we started working with them a few years back on scholarships, and they liked it so well that they've upped our amount of money for us to distribute there. And then they decided, hey, you guys give out grants too. Can you help us a little bit with that? And we approached them with a club grant idea to help fund the clubs, because, you know, honestly, clubs are the backbone of amateur radio in any town. And as you well know, they're at Delta. So we partnered with them and put together the club grants program a couple of years ago. And we gave out $500,000. We've done this a couple of times now. We may, in fact, do it again. It's been very successful. It's helped a lot of clubs across the country, and it's got a lot of good visibility and had some good results. The ARRL Foundation gave away $500,000, and we had over 1.5 million in application requests. So it's been very successful. May do it again. We also do grants for ham fests and conventions. And there's a separate set of rules for that. The league set aside some money to help Hamfests that need some help with their venue funding, help with the expenses, etc. And it's to help keep the bigger clubs and the bigger Hamfests, 500 ham participation coming through there, 500 paying customers, if you will, and more. Just keep those going, because that's another part of the community that's vital. Hamfests are very, very important. Kind of a breakdown on the foundation, what we did this last scholarship cycle. We had 171 scholarships awarded to 155 students, totaling $815,750 distributed to worthy amateur students. And if you know a high school senior, junior that's fixing to go to college, or if you know a ham that's in college, even graduate school, that needs a little money, that's worthy, go ahead and have them fill out an application. Just go online to the website and just type in scholarship, and it'll send you to the page. The grant programs, again, we give out other grants beside the ARDC club grants. We have a normal grant cycle that we do. We had 63 grants applied for during the February 2025 cycle. 10 grants were funded as of the February letting, and we gave out $17,612.10 in checks to the clubs and individuals that applied, and we gave away $334.57 worth of ARRL products. That would be books or other things. Postage was included. So there are a number of things the foundation does. I'm going to shift gears a little bit, talk about our membership. Membership has been declining, as you would guess, since the dues increase and the separation of the publication of QST. However, that's slowing a little bit, but we still need to work on it. We're hanging right at the national average at this division. Tennessee is faring quite a bit better than the rest of the division. Mississippi seems to be taking it the hardest, and of course Arkansas and Louisiana are lagging behind Tennessee. So you guys pat yourself on the back. We'll have to talk to our brethren. It's important to have league membership. I just talked about the efforts in Congress to help with the HOA situation. That also has some intangibles that goes along with it when we're in there talking with the congressman. It gets our faces out there. We become a known quantity. It's helped us with a couple of points at the FCC, such as our symbol rate problem we were having and some other rulemaking proposals that were sitting in front of the FCC that weren't moving. We had made contact with the chair of the committee, and she absolutely took the FCC chairman to task. And lo and behold, those rulemaking proposals that have been sitting there literally for years moved. Now, we still got some stacked up waiting, but we're making those contacts, and that is an intangible that's there with the league and what we do for the membership and what we do for amateur radio. So yeah, it's worthwhile. Absolutely worthwhile. That's what you don't see. League membership. A couple of things that we've been discussing as well, not only with the age and dropout participation and things, but also there's just a couple of existential threats hanging that are pretty serious. And one is our age demographic. And this number is based on what K5UR and staff and I have picked around with, based as best we can tell, is the average age of the ARRL member right now is 66, and that was as of a year ago. So I imagine it may be a little more. And that's based on the best information that we have. The U.S. average ham age may be a bit older. The European average amateur age is over 70. Ladies and gentlemen, this model cannot be sustained, and we need to be thinking about that. Another existential threat that we're facing is the shortwave modification committee. And I don't know if y'all are aware of that, but it is a real-time stock trade group via HF radio. They make real-time trades on HF. They think it's a little quicker than the fiber connection. And, you know, when they can get in and make that trade a few microseconds or milliseconds ahead of their competition, that's millions of dollars. What they're doing with this is they're running 20 kW wideband data radios that shift frequencies, find that optimum frequency and transmit on it to get in as quickly as they can. There are several experimental applications on our bands on HF, above 20, below 20, 17, above and below, on up to around 15, down to 30, in several, possibly one down around 40. These things really generate a tremendous amount of interference in the locales where they are. And guess what? It's 20 kW and it's on HF. What is that going to do? It propagates. They're short bursts, but they can be quite disruptive. And we just don't want a whole lot of these things banging around. What we did with this to address it is we've got a study group that's gathering data, and we're going to be going to the FCC with this, show them how much interference this is creating. And there's also some concerns from the military with this. I'll also bring up the fact that we've got an issue going on with 70 centimeters right now. And that's could be a problem. However, we may have some military help there, because it's going to cause some radar interference. One of the things we got going on to try to help boost our membership numbers, of course, there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can offer some incentives. You can offer free publications. But we got a really good thing going on right now, and that's the sweepstakes. You can win a new ICOM 7760 with a PW2 amplifier, and that's a nice little amplifier, a desk mic, and of course the Seiko ICOM 60th anniversary watch. I just got a regular Seiko watch here, but it's tip top, and I'm sure that one's really nice too. Ray Novak was showing it off not too long ago. It's a pretty beautiful watch. But you can get this. You can join or renew. You can set up auto renew, or you can donate to the Diamond Club if you're a life member and get entered into this sweepstakes. And, I would suggest if you want a new rig, here's your chance. You gotta take a little gamble on it. But it helps the league, it helps amateur radio, and you might win a new station. Also, something I want to talk up, we started right before COVID, was the Delta Division Plant the Seed program, where we took these library book sets that they really weren't promoting at headquarters. In fact, they were kind of hoping this thing would go away as a discounted set. And we opened that can of worms back up and went to the library system in Jackson, Mississippi, in that county, and started promoting this. And lo and behold, it took off. It worked out pretty well. Still is. They've partnered with us at several locations. We've got several club stations there. They're using it as part of the STEM program. We've had Nissan and some of their subs buy into this, and it has really, really taken off. And those kids are doing some really, really sharp stuff there, learning some useful skills. And it all goes back to ham radio. There's the book set. That's what it is. A club can buy it, take it to the library, make a presentation to them. The libraries are looking for publications. They're also looking for programs. And that's how that started down in Jackson is we're looking for a program, and it was a ham radio program that got their way in the door. And then they said, well, what about classes? Well, we can tie this in with our STEM program. And that's where it took off. So they're in several locations down there in that area. And Nashville's done something similar as well over in Nashville area. Ed's Club, there in Williamson County, they've got some libraries bought in, and that's becoming a pretty good recruiting tool. So we want to encourage that. I think it'd be a great thing for your club to maybe look into and see about doing this. Again, what can we do, any of us, to help amateur radio, to help our numbers? I've always said this, there is no one silver bullet to remedy the problem. However, there are a lot of steps that we can do to slow and change the pattern and grow this hobby. Number one, I'd like for everybody to go out and recruit one new ham this year, and get them to join the ARRL. What happens if we all go out and recruit one new ham and one new ARRL member? Our numbers double. Two, again, approach your local public library or even your school library with the book set. Get in there and offer some classes. Do a soft sell. They may take it. Your scout troop is a great place to go to. Approach them. That's an easy captive audience. And that radio merit badge is so similar to our technician study guide and our technician course that it is just, it's perfect. Reach out to your friends that might be interested. And another one is approach your local GMRS or your family mobile radio service groups. This has been fairly successful over in Chattanooga. They've had some good success with that, and also down in Hattiesburg, getting those folks involved. They've several that have decided they want to become hams. All right, with that, gang, let's throw it open to comments and questions.
Anybody have any questions for David?
I'd like to comment on ARRL membership. David, can you hear me?
Hang on, let me turn up the volume, Joe. Let her rip.
All right. Anybody wanting to join ARRL or renew their license, the club gets money for doing it. If it's a new member, it's $15, and if it's a renewal, it's $5.
Yep.
Harry has applications, I believe. Don't you have applications or ARRL applications? Fill that out, give it to me. I'll send it in, and you get your ARRL membership, and we get some money for encouraging you to get your membership or renew it.
Absolutely. That's free money. It's free money for the club, and I want to encourage every club that's affiliated, every club that has that option, to absolutely take that. That's $15 for a new member, $5 for your renewals. It's just money laying there for the club's coffer. Let's do it. Let's use it for the club's benefit, because that benefits everybody. Good point, Joe. That's why we keep you around.
Anyone else? Anything at all?
David, are you going to be in Huntsville this weekend?
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm going to be there. Ed's going to be there. We're all going to be there. I don't think Rick's going to be there. I think Kristen's coming instead in his behalf. But Minster's going to be there. I think quite a few folks from the headquarters are going to pop in on this one, so you may get to meet some people.
Yeah. If you are going to Huntsville, go by and shake David's hand.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll be there. So I'll either be roaming around or I'll be there at the ARRL booth. Huntsville's a good ham fest. To me, it's the best one in the world. So
We've
really
got a bus down again.
Yeah, the bus ride, that's a great that's a great thing that Delta Club does. I think it's just fantastic. What you do, load up, everybody goes over. It's a great way for the club to get out and have some fellowship and see a good ham fest.
David, is there any discussion of adding any allocations such as 4-meter band or anything else like that?
Well, we're always looking for something like that. You know, we did that VLF stuff, not too long ago. That would be something that would be a good fit, in my opinion. Right now, we're going to be tilting with the 800-pound gorilla in the room, which is the NTIA, which controls all this and the frequency allocations in the country. So that's to be determined, but I think that'd be fantastic to add that band itself. They're going to be looking to swap maybe some of that upper spectrum for Wi-Fi for something. That might be a good bargaining chip.
Very cool. Any other questions for David? Well, David, thank you for your time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem. Guys, we sit here, we struggled through this with the PowerPoint. It was wanting to do some strange things with the monitors. Of course, it did an upgrade. You know what that means. So just sitting here down the shack in QSL corner by my roll top desk, and good to get on, good to see everybody. And those of you going to Huntsville, we'll see you there, and might make it over for the Christmas party.
Awesome.
We would certainly love to have you. Go ahead, Tom. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, David.
Thank you. Again, 4 things. And thanks, guys. Ladies, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Welcome.